Welcome back to the American Garage. Today I have pulled all the wiring out of the airplane. Let me show you what I've got done. As you can see, we've got all the wiring, all the instruments have been removed, so now we can go in with fresh and new. Let me show you why it was a good idea. These are all the bits and pieces that are just absolutely no good. Now, one of the things that we had in the airplane was this was some kind of a makeshift bus. This piece of copper here, and they just soldered wires to it. So this is not the way it should be done. So I'm glad we were able to remove this, and we'll do something good with it. I also wanted to show you something else. So this wire right here is the wire that was going to the alternator circuit breaker. And I want you to notice a couple things. One, we go from a very thick wire to a thinner wire to another piece of thinner wire to a very thin wire. Now, they put it together with these butt splices, and if you look, these butt splices, they're all brown. That's because they were heating up and getting ready to burn. So that one is almost burnt, and that one is almost burnt as well. So if we did it for no other reason than this one wire, it was probably a good thing, because this one was about to go. Plus, this connection right here is barely hanging on. So I went to our avionics shop, and our avionics guy made new wires for us to put in the airplane. And the cool thing about it is that he has a labeling machine, and he labeled all the wires. So when we look in our FAA certified factory service manual, we can see that in the wiring diagrams, the wires have catalog numbers. You know, in this case, L30 and L19, different numbers for different areas. This one's L42. And so now, in the factory, they just put like L42 on it. But what we decided to do, since he had a little bit of extra room in his machine, is we put the label of what it is. Taxi light, landing light, navigation light, whatever it is. So he did that for us, and we're going to be putting these in the airplane next. When I pulled the wires out of the wings, I put a string on the end of them and pulled these strings through and labeled which string goes to which wire. So that way, when I put the new wire in, I attach the string, I pull the string through, and we've attached the new wire. Since we are working on a certified airplane, all repairs are going to be made according to the factory service manual in accordance with FAA regulations and signed off by an aircraft inspector. With the end of the wire taped to the string, we'll now pull it through. Now, we're working on doing new upholstery for the seat. And as you can see, I've got the face of the seat already done. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to lay out some pieces. I've got some helpers coming today, and one of them is going to help with the stitching while we're doing some other things out on the airplane itself. So I got a piece of leather laid out that will be the top of the seat. And what we've got to do is punch holes in it for the stitching. So I already laid out where I want my line to be, and I'm just going to start punching away at it and get these pieces ready for when my helper shows up. Then we can, have them busy doing the actual stitching while I'm working with the others on the airplane itself. Our sheet metal guy came and put a new skin in this area on the wing and made it all good. This is the old skin, so we'll have to repaint this area, but we're good to go. We have several bare metal areas like this that we had scrubbed down, and we're going to acid etch it, iodine it, and put some primer on it to keep it from corroding. This will be inside the wing, so it's not going to have the white external paint. Now that I have these pieces cut and stamped for the new stitching, let's put some foam backing on it. So what we'll do is we'll glue these on here and cut them out. So I've got my pieces of leather laid out on the foam, upside down. So what we'll do is we'll spray some glue on the back side with it on top of the foam. Now what this also does is it gives me a layout. I can see where to put the glue on the foam. And now, I turn my leather over, glue on both sides, lay it on, nice and flat. Let's do the other two. Good. Lay my leather on there. And what this is going to do, this foam, it's going to even out some of the inconsistencies when we put the piece together. We'll take that inside and cut them out. So, I've got Andrea here with me today. Say hi to the internet, Andrea.
Hi.
She's going to school to learn to be a rocket engineer, and she's home for the summer. And she's going to help out so she can earn a little bit of time in the airplane once we get finished. So what I'm doing, she's stitching that part that I showed earlier, and she's putting those pieces together. Now what I'm doing is I'm making a piece to go on the handles. I already got some foam on here, so there'll be a leather wrapped handle next to the door to help people get in and out. And what I decided to do was to use the steering wheel stitch that I used in the car on this. So I'm in the process of making the side stitches to create the steering wheel stitch with. Let me show you up close. So what I've got going on here is I'm stitching, I want a full straight stitch. I only got half of it done. Since I'm only using one needle, I'm going back and forth on the way back to complete the full stitch. But what a steering wheel stitch is we got one straight stitch on this side, and we'll have another straight stitch on the other side. And then what's going to happen is this will get wrapped around the handle, and then what we'll do is we'll use the string in rickrack form to pull the two sides together. I'll show you a little bit more when we get there. So this is how the handles are coming out. I'm using the steering wheel stitch. I'm getting a little better at it. it's tough to get it all even. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take all these parts that we've cleaned up and we're going to acid etch them and iodine them to protect them from corrosion. So that's our task right now. We're also going to do that to the bare pieces on the airplane as well. I'm going to show you on this one right here. I've got to use the acid first. I'm just going to coat it with acid, and I'm going to let it set for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to rinse it off in the sink. And this is going to eat any corrosion that might be on it. And we'll let that set for 3 minutes and rinse it off. All right, now I've taken all of my pieces and I acid washed them for 3 minutes, and then I rinsed them with water to stop the acid. Now it's time to take the iodine chemical, and we'll put it on. We'll just lay it on there. We'll let it set for 3 minutes, and then we'll rinse it off. We've got the iodine on here. You can see it's kind of golden color. It's almost ready, and I'll pull it off. I'll just wash it off with water. So today I'm doing research on the electrical system in my airplane. So one of the things that I discovered is, well, we knew we had an alternator, and the original airplane that I have came with a generator. So at some point the generator was upgraded to an alternator, and I found that in my logbook. In May of 1987, they had removed the engine from a Cessna 150F model, which had an alternator. They took that engine off of that airplane and put it on my airplane. So that's when it got the alternator. When they did that, they did not change the alternator circuit breaker. And the alternator circuit breaker in the airplane was a 20 amp circuit breaker. So remember how earlier I showed you how the wires started burning a little bit, and it was the alternator circuit breaker wire? Well, now we know why. Because they had a 60 amp alternator attached to a 20 amp alternator circuit breaker. That's not going to work. So I'm glad we found that. And I'm ordering new circuit breakers, and so that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a 60 amp alternator circuit breaker. We're going to get a 35 amp circuit breaker for our avionics, and then everything else is as it should be. And I have checked in my my service manual, which is this one right here. And it tells us exactly what size of circuit breakers it wants for whatever circuit it wants. Now they went standard with a 35 amp fuse back then, which of course wasn't enough. It was, what we had was a 20 amp circuit breaker. So things got changed, and they didn't get changed correctly. So we're digging into this. I've been researching all morning, but this is what we have to do to make sure that everything comes out correctly. So now I'm ordering my different circuit breakers that we're going to need for this airplane. Andrea is one of my helpers. She is going to Embry-Riddle University to get a degree in aerospace engineering. She's going to be building rockets. This summer she's helping us out with the airplane a little bit in exchange for flying time. And so I've got her priming some of the parts so that we can put it back together and prevent corrosion. We have a problem, and it's right here on the spar. Somebody, when they were putting the cover on with the screws, they put one of the screws right into the spar. This is going to be a serious problem for us, and we're going to have to make some decisions about this. This could get very, very expensive because this is the spar. Let me show you. Okay, so this is our problem right here. This little hole. It's not supposed to be there. And this is the wing spar. This is the strength of the whole wing on this one piece of metal. So what happened was, see, we've got a cover that goes over this, and they accidentally put a screw into the spar. Now, we're going to have to repair this. And the question is, how is it going to be repaired? How much is it going to cost? This could go as expensive as maybe $5,000 just for this one little error right here that we have to fix. It's on the spar. If it were to crack, it could cause the wing to come off. So we have to make sure that that's fixed. We've got our aircraft inspector and our structural metal specialist working on it. And so they're off trying to come up with a solution for it. On the positive side, we repainted our ailerons and flaps, and they are looking absolutely gorgeous. Alright, so it's always been one of my pet peeves when an airplane is painted, and like this one was in the past, is they never prep inside the flap and the aileron jams very well. And what happens on a pre-flight is we look up in these areas. So everybody's going to look at it. So since we had the flaps and the ailerons already off, I decided we'd go ahead and just paint these areas, and they look great. All right, with the propeller at the propeller shop, we should have that back in another week or two. So today was supposed to be the day that we put the wings back on the airplane. Now that we've found this problem with that wing spar, that may slow us down considerably, and I may have to make some hard choices between a good solid wing and the fancy avionics. So stay posted, we'll see how things go. So I'm in the prop shop checking on the condition of my propeller, and they're almost finished. They've got to the anodizing stage, that's why it's all gold. But we passed the critical phase of the grinding to see to get rid of the corrosion, and then see if there was enough propeller left to be useful. So luckily, we made it through the process, and now, after it's been anodized, it's getting ready to go into the paint shop. So the propeller should be ready to take back and put on the airplane by next week. Until next time, this is Steve from the American Garage. Thanks for watching The American Garage. If you liked this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.